The kindergarten collapsed, and my daughter was trapped under the rubble. My husband, the rescue team leader, was right there, but he was too busy saving his first love's daughter, who was already safe. 3 days later, they finally found my daughter's body. I had to beg my husband once again to send her off for the last time. In the VIP hospital room, he was holding the other girl, looking annoyed. "Lillian, stop it. Today's Emma's birthday, I need to be with her." Tears streamed down my face. 6 years, and he never once remembered that today is also our daughter's birthday. But that's okay, because this time, she won't be waiting for him ever again. Chapter 1. When the rescue team arrived, I had already dug with my bare hands until my fingers were raw, managing to locate my daughter. Her condition was grave. A massive beam had crushed her waist, and a steel rod as thick as a finger had pierced her abdomen. Blood poured from her, soaking the rubble around her in deep crimson. With trembling hands, I tried to brush the small bits of debris from her face, but as soon as I touched her, she whimpered, her pale face stained with tears. "Mommy, it hurts so much. Mommy, please save me. It hurts so badly I can't stand it." Tears streamed down my face as my heart felt like it was being torn apart. I forced myself to stay calm and comfort her. "Sweetheart, don't cry. Mommy will blow on it, okay? We have to hold on, Daddy's almost here." Her father, John, my husband of 7 years, was the team leader of the rescue operation. Brave and righteous, he was a hero in everyone's eyes. I believed in him, I believed he could save our little girl. As soon as I finished speaking, he rushed to my side, glancing at our daughter with urgency, trying to reassure her. "Sweetheart, don't be scared. Daddy's going to get you out soon." For a moment, I felt relief. Just as I was about to grab his hand and tell him to be careful, he turned to me. "Lillian, Emma and her mother are here too. I have to rescue them first. You and our daughter hold on a little longer. I'll be right back." With that, he got up and started to leave. What? My mind went blank. Instinctively, I grabbed him, tears streaming down my face as I pleaded. "Don't go, John. Please, save our daughter first. I'm begging you, she's hurt so badly. If you leave, she'll die." Our daughter sobbed. "Daddy, don't leave me. It hurts so much." But no matter how much we begged, he firmly shook off my hand. "Lillian, stop it. Rescuing people is my duty." With that, he ran toward his first love. This wasn't the first time John had left our daughter behind. When she was born, fragile and placed in an incubator, I had called John to come back from his duty to be with her. But he refused, saying he couldn't leave his post. I understood, but that same day, I saw him in the maternity ward, holding the newborn Emma, smiling in pure happiness. It was then I realized it wasn't that he couldn't take time off. He just wouldn't do it for me or our daughter. Later, our daughter was mocked in kindergarten for not having a dad. Bravely, she borrowed her teacher's phone and called John. But in the end, her father stood behind the child who had bullied her. That child was Emma. John had secretly moved them, Emma and her mother, into a property near ours. He had become Emma's father, while my daughter became the child without one. When I confronted him, he looked weary. "They're just a helpless mother and daughter, Lillian. I have to help them." I used to have the strength to argue with him, but now, there was only sorrow left inside me. I stood there for what felt like forever, watching as John quickly rescued Emma and her mother. He held Emma in one arm and supported her mother with the other, hurrying past us. Amid the chaos, he gently comforted Emma as she cried, as if she were his own. But my daughter, drenched in blood, screamed until she fainted. Frantic, I begged other rescuers to help, but they all refused. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this area is the team leader's responsibility. We have our own duties we can't overstep. The team leader will be back soon. Please wait a little longer." So I waited. And waited. Until 3 days later, when my daughter took her last breath. And he never came back. Chapter 2. When the doors of the emergency room opened, the doctor shook his head sadly. The rescue was too late, she had lost too much blood. She passed away despite all efforts. It felt like a blow to the head, making my blood run backward, my senses numbing, and my body unable to support itself. I slid down the wall sobbing. My darling, a female doctor about my age, sympathized with my situation and suggested with a choked voice, "How can you handle this alone? Call your husband to help." I nodded slowly, but my hands trembled so much that I kept dropping my phone. The doctor, seeing my struggle, took out my phone and dialed my husband's number for me. The first call was hung up, the second too. By the 10th, the phone was turned off. The doctor shook her head in frustration. "I don't know what your husband is busy with, but he should be here right now." She pointed to a couple down the corridor, remarking, "Now that's a good father. He hasn't left his child's side since they were admitted. You should talk to your husband." Through my tear-blurred vision, I saw a tall man embracing a frail woman and a lovely girl, smiling contentedly. I let out a bitter laugh. "Yes, he is a good father, but his biological daughter just died in your hands." The doctor stared at me as if she had seen a ghost, disbelief in her eyes. I patted her shoulder, sobbing and laughing. "It's all right. My daughter and I are used to it. I'll go get him to handle our daughter's final arrangements." But it was wishful thinking. John refused. He yelled at me, his face red with anger. "Lillian, stop this nonsense. Emma said all the children at the accident site were saved, and you dare lie that our daughter is dead." "Ah, Emma again. Last time, Emma said our daughter mocked her for not having a father, and he believed it, telling everyone he was Emma's father. This time, she said our daughter wasn't dead, and he believed it again." My heart felt like it was being pierced by 1,000 needles, the pain unbearable. With tears streaming down my face, I asked, "So, John, you believe her over me, you save her daughter and not your own. Why didn't you divorce me and marry her sooner, wholeheartedly raising someone else's child?" John was at a loss for words, a hint of guilt in his eyes. Just as he held my trembling hand, Emma's mother, with tear-streaked cheeks, interrupted. "John, it's all my fault. Lillian must be angry because you used her card to pay for Emma's VIP room. I don't have money now, but I will repay her." Emma also started crying. "Bad woman, uncle, make her leave. She made mommy cry. She's a bad woman." John immediately pushed me out, furious. "Emma is still sick. Don't upset her. Don't worry, I promised our daughter I'd be home for her birthday this year, and I will." With that, he slammed the door in my face. I clutched my chest, laughing bitterly. Our daughter had briefly regained consciousness before being wheeled into the operating room. She held my hand weakly and asked, "Mommy, where's Daddy? Isn't he here yet?" Her eyes were already losing focus. To comfort her, I had to tell one last lie. "Sweetheart, don't be afraid. Daddy is on his way. You'll see him when you come out." But just now, my daughter was wheeled out covered in a white sheet, and her father was celebrating with another girl. I feared she might feel disappointed, sad, and secretly cry. I couldn't bear for my daughter to suffer like this, but now it's over. "Sweetheart, Daddy promised to be home for your birthday. 3 days until your birthday, Mommy will wait with you." Chapter 3. That night, I left the hospital alone with my daughter Emma. The wind was cold, making me feel empty inside. I held Emma tightly, whispering, "Sweetheart, sleep peacefully. Mommy will shield you from the wind. It won't touch you again." Back home, I gave her a bath. Emma loved cleanliness. After washing away the blood and putting on a pretty dress, she would be happy. Sure enough, she lay quietly on the bed, listening to me pack her things one by one. The dim light illuminated her face so cute and beautiful. I couldn't take my eyes off her. But as I watched, tears flowed uncontrollably. I hurriedly wiped them away. I couldn't cry. Emma once said, "Mommy looks best when she smiles." For the next 3 days, I had to be the most beautiful person in her eyes. Emma had a treasured box filled with her little wishes. I never dared to look before, it was her secret. But now... Sweetheart, forgive Mommy. Mommy just wants to fulfill your wishes. My daughter must leave without regrets. With trembling hands, I opened a carefully folded piece of paper. It was a drawing balloons, a castle, Donald Duck, Snow White, and her holding hands with Daddy and Mommy. Tears flowed uncontrollably. It was Children's Day. The school organized a parent-child activity, taking the children to Disneyland for June 1st. All the other kids' parents agreed to go, except John, who was hesitant. After several unsuccessful calls, Emma couldn't wait and dialed his number herself. She was always so understanding, it was one of her few requests in 5 years. John agreed, saying he had to work that night and couldn't leave with us, but he would meet us at the entrance to Disneyland. That night, Emma spent a long time choosing her outfit in front of the mirror and even smiled in her sleep. She was so happy that her daddy finally agreed to spend a day with her. But in our excitement, we forgot that her father had another daughter at the school. So, while we waited anxiously at the entrance, John was already on the Ferris wheel with his other daughter. While we called him repeatedly, he was on the roller coaster with her. They ate ice cream together, laughing and enjoying themselves, while Emma stood in the sun, her face flushed, becoming the laughingstock of the other children. They mocked her for lying, for saying she had a father when she didn't. Lily, are you trying to steal Sophia's father again? You're such a pitiful child. I hugged Emma and scolded those kids harshly, but John watched everything without any clarification. So, this became her last regret. Well, this time, Mommy will make sure your wish comes true. I called John, told him Emma wanted to celebrate her birthday at Disneyland, and hoped he wouldn't go back on his word. Before, I always begged and pressured him. This time, he promised voluntarily. So, Emma and I would give him one last chance. But in the end, he was shameless. When I barged into the luxurious VIP room, John was blowing out candles with Sophia. A 2-tier chocolate cake looked incredibly tempting. Emma loved chocolate cake, but her father never knew. I showed him the call record from that day, demanding he keep his promise. He looked displeased. Lillian, stop causing trouble. Today is Sophia's birthday, I have to be with her. I'll be home for Emma's birthday next year. I promise. I turned and left without hesitation. John, Emma will never have another birthday. You've lost your chance. Chapter 4. That night, as I watched Peppa Pig one last time with my daughter on the couch, John called, furious. Lillian, look what you did. I just missed her birthday, and you barged into the hospital room. Now Emma's new puppy is scared and won't eat or drink. Emma is worried sick and her condition might relapse. Come and apologize. I let out a cold laugh and asked, is that all you wanted to say? What else? They're alone and helpless. If I don't stand up for them, who will? Even though I was prepared, his absurd words still cut deep. I hung up, gently stroking my daughter's urn, comforting her. Sweetheart, don't be sad. Once Mommy settles everything, I'll make sure they pay for what they did. Just smile for Mommy, okay? Mommy loves your smile the most. The next day, what had started as a clear day turned rainy. I carefully placed my daughter in her grave. The soil was damp, some of it falling onto the urn. I patiently wiped it clean, reassuring her. Sweetheart, don't cry. Mommy will make sure your new home is clean. My best friend started sobbing, and our relatives and friends were all in tears. My daughter was so lovely and kind, everyone adored her. They couldn't bear losing her. But as everyone mourned, a dog suddenly ran up to her grave and urinated. My best friend, furious, kicked the dog away, making Emma cry. Daddy, someone hurt Fluffy. Make them pay. John and Emma's mother walked over together. Hearing Emma cry, John rushed over, cradling the dog, and questioned me coldly. Lillian, what is it this time? I told you not to bother Emma. She's already so pitiful without a father. My best friend's boyfriend grabbed John, shoving his face toward our daughter's grave photo. "You scum! You let your daughter die, and now you want to run? No way! We won't let you go!" My best friend pulled her boyfriend away, scolding him. "Don't let that filthy thing touch her photo. It'll dirty her path to reincarnation." Amidst the cursing, John finally saw the photo on the gravestone and screamed in horror. No way. He fell to the ground, crawling backward in fear and disbelief. He looked at me for confirmation, hoping for a different truth. But I coldly met his gaze and spoke each word clearly. "John, do you know? Our daughter didn't have to die. It was her father who abandoned her to save another girl, leading to her bleeding out. That day, you celebrated another child's life while ours died on the operating table. Tell me, isn't it funny?" Under my unwavering gaze, tears streamed down John's face. He knelt, bowing repeatedly at our daughter's grave. Thud, 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 one bow after another, until his forehead bled. Even after we finished our ceremony, he still didn't stop, as if he believed this could absolve his sins. Ridiculous. As we were about to leave, Emma's mother knelt before me, beginning her performance. "Lillian, it's my fault. John stayed to care for Emma because I fainted at the sight of blood. I'll kneel and apologize. Just let him get up. He'll die if he continues." She said it was her fault, but her eyes held nothing but provocation. My best friend slapped her hard. "Would you forgive your daughter's killer? You and John are a perfect match. Get lost, you fool." But my friend's words only triggered John's chivalry. He tenderly helped Emma's mother up, glaring at me. "Lillian, this has nothing to do with her. You shouldn't bully her." "Ha! Bully? I haven't even started." Chapter 6. The day after our daughter's funeral, I contacted a lawyer. If Emma's mother flaunted John's use of my money for her, I would take it all back. When John received the court summons, he rushed home. I was adding clothes to our daughter's wardrobe for the next season. He stormed in, grabbing the clothes and throwing them on the floor. "Lillian, are you crazy? Suing her? I gave her that money willingly. Drop the lawsuit, or I'll..." Smack. Before he finished, I slapped him. Then, as he reeled in shock, I picked up our daughter's clothes, carefully smoothing the wrinkles, hanging them back up, and closing the closet. I slapped him again. "John, do you think you're special? Do you know how much you earn? You live off me, use my money, and spend my family's money on your mistress. Why shouldn't I take it back? I'm not just suing her, I'm divorcing you." I grabbed his collar, dragging him to the study, and threw the divorce papers at him. "Sign it, looking at you makes me sick." For the first time, John panicked. He glanced at the divorce papers, crumpled them, and threw them in the trash, hastily explaining. "Lillian, you misunderstood. There's nothing between me and Emma's mother. I just felt sorry for her. I've always loved only you. We promised to be together forever. How could I change? We can't divorce. I don't want to leave you." His words reminded me of our first meeting. I was dealing with my parents' death and taking over the family business. One day, in a daze, I walked into a malfunctioning elevator. The elevator dropped rapidly in the darkness, stopping, then dropping again. I called for help, but was alone in there for a long time. Just as I thought I would die, the hatch opened, a beam of light shining in. A man in a red safety helmet looked down at me, speaking gently. "Don't be afraid, I'll get you out." That was my first encounter with John. Bright eyes, straight back, rescuing me from a cage. In that moment, he became my hero. I pursued him, fell in love, got married, and had our daughter. We had many happy moments. He cooked breakfast, brought my favorite milk tea after work, and secretly bought outfits for our daughter. I believed he loved us deeply then. But that love couldn't compare to his first love. Since reuniting with Emma's mother, he changed. For her and Emma, he ignored our tears, abandoning us repeatedly. Ultimately, this led to our daughter's tragic death and my utter disappointment in our marriage. Looking into his pleading eyes, I called our lawyer. John won't sign. Go to the estate and evict Emma's mother and daughter. Chapter 7. John didn't sign and rushed over. It was futile, the property was mine before our marriage. He could only watch as they were thrown out, their belongings scattered everywhere, becoming the neighborhood's gossip. In desperation, John rented an apartment for them. When he tried to pay, he found the card no longer worked. He called me, but I hung up on him. He had no choice but to seek help from his team members. However, he didn't know that I had already visited his superior with our marriage certificate, photos, and expense records. Moved by my tearful testimony, his teammates ignored his calls in disgust, and his superior informed him of his suspension in my presence. John had once told me how he was an orphan, fortunate to receive help from kind people who allowed him to grow up, get educated, and see a different world. That's why he joined the rescue team, to make helping others his mission. I had supported him wholeheartedly, giving him time and money to take care of our home so he could pursue his dreams without worry. Now, I continued to support him, but only in his dedication to his first love. After the suspension, John returned home once more. He was furious, demanding to know what I had done. I handed him the divorce papers again. He ran away once more. This time, John had to find a job for survival. He managed to get a position as a repairman at a large factory, with a decent salary and light duties. The factory provided accommodation, which he gave to Emma and her mother. With her manipulative skills, Emma's mother quickly became friends with the other residents, who praised Emma's cuteness and her mother's gentle nature, seeing John and her as a perfect couple. Unfortunately for them, I was still around to ruin their idyllic facade. Armed with our marriage certificate, I staged another dramatic scene, exposing their affair. This scandal turned Emma's mother into a pariah among the other women, and John was seen as a troublemaker by the factory management. They were evicted once again. This time, Emma's mother approached me. She invited me to a cafe and handed me a divorce settlement. If you agree to split the assets, I'll persuade John to divorce you. I laughed scornfully. I thought you truly loved him, but it's all about the money, isn't it? Emma's mother briefly showed embarrassment but quickly regained her composure. Don't mock me. You can't understand the bond between John and me. We grew up together. Even though I left him to marry someone wealthier, he still came to my aid when I was pregnant and alone. He left you and your daughter many times for us. That day at the kindergarten, I wasn't even trapped. I just cried a little, and he abandoned his critically injured daughter to rescue my Emma. This proves he loves me, that I am the only one in his heart. Her smug expression infuriated me. I picked up my coffee and splashed it in her face. You're just a homewrecker daring to challenge me. You've signed your death warrant. Chapter 8. After leaving the cafe, my best friend, who had been secretly filming, emerged with a smile, showing me the video. Emma's mother didn't know my best friend owned that cafe or that she was a popular vlogger. That night, she posted the video online with the caption, "Real-life drama. Homewrecker and deadbeat dad caused the death of the legitimate daughter and then tried to steal the family fortune." The video went viral, spreading like wildfire. John saw it too. He finally realized the extent of his mistakes. He drove Emma and her mother away and came home to beg for forgiveness. But I had already invited back an old friend who had just returned from abroad, along with his son. Seeing the elegant man and the adorable boy in our home, John's eyes filled with hurt. I shrugged, explaining casually, "They're alone and helpless. I'm just helping them out. You should understand that, right, John?" He wanted to object, but under my mocking gaze, he could only nod stiffly. Later, when my friend's son fell ill, I spent all my time at the hospital, leaving John alone at home. On Christmas, John prepared a lavish dinner, hoping to celebrate with me, but I had a candlelit dinner with my friend and his son instead. On our wedding anniversary, I ignored John's pleas, opting to go on an overseas trip with them. John called and texted incessantly, begging me to come home and see him. My tightly wound heartstrings finally began to relax. I remembered all those nights I waited for him, pleading for him to come home to see our daughter, to love her just once. And what did he say? Lillian, don't make trouble. Emma and her mother need me. Now, I could say the same. John, don't make trouble. Daniel and his son need me. Listening to his heartbroken cries, I hung up, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction. Sweetheart, did you see that? All the wrongs you suffered, Mommy will make them pay. During this period, the court began the process of enforcing the judgment against Emma's mother. I heard she was living a miserable life, hiding and struggling. But soon after, she paid the money. Surprised, I investigated and then reported her, leading to her arrest. A person with such a filthy mind had no boundaries, even selling unspeakable things. She deserved to be imprisoned. While in prison, she learned about her daughter's death in a fire at the orphanage a few months later. My daughter and I had suffered because of their cruel joke. Now, Emma's mother had to pay with her own daughter's life. I shared this with John, watching his haggard face twist with pain. My words were almost venomous. John was silent, staring at me for a long time. Bored, I got up to leave, but he grabbed my hand. Lillian, do you hate me too? His voice was filled with regret and sorrow, as if I were the one who had deceived him, killed his daughter, and tried to steal his fortune. It was utterly absurd. I turned back, laughing loudly. Playing the victim now, John? When you abandoned me and our daughter for Emma and her mother, I saw you as nothing but trash. If it weren't for wanting a complete family for our daughter, do you think I would have tolerated you for so long? I hate myself for being too soft-hearted. Otherwise, our daughter wouldn't have died so tragically. John, you're the one who deserves to die. Chapter 9. After that day, John finally signed the divorce papers. The following day, he took the birthday gift he had promised our daughter to her grave, to say goodbye. He told me he planned to return to the orphanage. The outside world no longer needed him, but those children might. He said that being with them would be like being with our daughter. I took the divorce papers and walked away without looking back. Belated love is worthless to me or our daughter. Sure enough, while traveling on a mountain road, heavy rains caused a landslide, burying him and his car for 3 days before he was found, lifeless. It was fate. Even the heavens didn't want him near our daughter. 3 days after John's death, I cleared out all his belongings and visited Emma's mother in prison. A mother's bond with her child is deep. She knew her daughter was dead. I stood outside the cold iron bars, recounting every detail of her daughter's death. She screamed, sobbed, and went mad. Just as she was about to accuse me, the guards dragged her away. I smiled coldly. How could it be me? It was all karma. Her retribution came soon after. Emma's mother, already unstable from learning about her daughter's death, was transferred to a mental hospital. On the way, a car accident occurred. All the officers were unharmed, only she was pierced through the chest by iron, bleeding out on the spot. That night, I dreamt of my daughter. She wore a beautiful dress, like a princess, smiling as she said goodbye. Mommy, the people who hurt me are gone. I'm leaving now. From now on, take good care of yourself. Chapter 10. John's perspective. After my death, I was reborn. Reborn to the day the kindergarten collapsed. Seeing the rubble, I ran to Lillian and our daughter. This time, I ignored Emma's mother's message and saved our daughter first. She was severely injured, with a steel rod through her abdomen, bleeding profusely. My heart clenched. I was such a fool in my past life to ignore her severe injuries. I carefully carried our daughter, bringing Lillian along to the hospital. After she was taken into surgery, I stayed by Lillian's side. As the doors closed and the surgery light turned on, the minutes felt like hours, my heart aching deeply. Only now did I understand how Lillian had endured that pain alone in the past. And what was I doing then? Celebrating with another woman and her daughter. I was truly despicable. I apologized to Lillian, my voice choked with guilt. It's all my fault. Lillian's eyes welled with tears, but she comforted me. You did your best. You're our hero. I believe our daughter will pull through. She held my hand, leaning on me, seeking mutual support. In that moment, I realized Lillian's coldness and distance before my death were not her true self. It was my repeated neglect and rejection that changed her. She was always this understanding and strong. I deeply regretted abandoning my wife and daughter for Emma's mother. I no longer loved her, it was just a momentary lapse, blinded by past feelings. My heart had always belonged to Lillian and our daughter. In this life, I vowed to cherish and protect them, to atone for my past sins. Just then, the surgery doors opened, and Lillian rushed forward. I wanted to check on our daughter but was stabbed in the heart by a pair of scissors. Emma's mother glared at me with hatred. "You killed my daughter. You will pay." After I left with our daughter, the kindergarten collapsed again, burying Emma for real this time. Emma's mother believed it was my fault for not saving her, so she sought revenge. Even a vile woman loved her child so deeply. And in my past life, how foolish was I to commit such unforgivable sins, not even allowed a chance for redemption in this life. I fell to the ground, using my last bit of strength to crawl toward the surgery doors. I wanted to see my daughter one last time, to tell her. "I was wrong. Sweetheart, Daddy knows he was wrong.